check these out. And that's worth about $250,000.
$250,000? What are people stacking here in Colorado Springs when it comes to silver? Bags of gold?
Yeah, people are out there in the mountains and they're panning, and definitely not unusual.
Amazing. Honestly, it's the best coin shop I've found in the state.
Do you believe we're still in the midst of a bull market with gold and silver? Do you think the fundamentals have changed?
New to buying gold or silver? SD Bullion makes it simple, with no order minimums, clear pricing, and discreet shipping. Trusted by hundreds of thousands, SDBullion.com, where America buys physical gold and silver.
Tom Hallenbeck at the Hallenbeck Coin Gallery. Thank you for letting me come in. Good to see you.
You bet. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you stopping in.
Well, Mrs. Yankee and I happen to be out on our anniversary to Colorado Springs. We're having a blast out here, but usually when I'm out, I like to stop to the local coin shop in the area, and I'm just wanting to pop in. I was amazed. The line is out the door.
Yeah, we locked the door. We have probably right now at least 10 people in line right now. And inside we have what we call 5 buying stations, and 4 are occupied at the moment.
What percentage would you say are buying and selling at this point right now?
Our goal is to buy from the public. We've always done our advertising to buy. And we want people to think of us when they inherit their father's collection or their grandfather's or whatever. And it could be scrap jewelry, it could be coin collections, and we want to buy. But I would say percentage-wise, it's probably 75+% of the people that come in the shop are sellers.
Wow.
So it's initially we would sell more to the customers than would sell to us. We would go to shows and we would be buyers. Now when we go to shows, we are net sellers. We just pretty much sell because it comes in the door. And that's what we want. So we buy both gold and silver bullion and scrap jewelry, numismatics, or coin collections.
Yeah, you're
certified
really
and uncertified.
You're really big in the numismatics too.
The numismatics are they're, I hate to say they're the fun things, but going through collections and finding 3-legged buffalo nickels and 16D dimes. But at the same time, we have to explain a lot to people why their Roosevelt dime is only worth the silver value.
Yes.
And why that worn out buffalo nickel that you can't even see the date is only worth a dime. So we have to do a lot of explaining. We try to educate the people when they come in so they know, so they feel like we're treating them fairly, because we obviously have to make money, and we want to make sure they walk out satisfied.
How long have you been in business?
We started in 1983. I've been here since 1984. So it's what's that? 43 years in business. I've been here 42 years. My father, Ken Hallenbeck, who started it, who's 94 at the moment, he still stopped. He stopped in yesterday. He comes around a lot. He's still driving, and we're going to
at 94. Good for him.
We're going to the Pittsburgh A&A in a couple weeks.
Wow.
And my dad will be with us. But I bought him out 25 years ago. So so I took over ownership at that time, and now we have 16 people in the shop, and 16 employees.
This is nothing.
This is a lot of rock.
That's a lot of rock. This is 14, 16, 20, 22 in silver, but the bag itself is testing 18 to 21 depending on where.
See, there's a lot of rock in
Yeah.
there. Or this one is probably the good one, right? This one right here. That looks. This one.
No, I think this one is actually kind of the good one.
Oh, I would assume this one would be the better one.
That one was the one that I was surprised that it was testing so low some places.
So. So I would maybe go up to 16, but I would be really reluctant to go that high.
Okay.
Because then we would end up obviously melting it all.
14, and then I've got a couple of the bigger ones that are like 20, 22.
Yeah.
So okay.
Tom, that's something I don't normally see in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
People, bags of gold?
Yeah, people are out there in the mountains and they're panning, and they're that's placer gold, so that's probably from Clear Creek Canyon or up towards maybe Leadville or Fairplay in that part of the mountains. There's specific areas you're allowed to mine as a private individual with picking a shovel, but you can't use mechanical devices. And there's a lot of people that do that. Go out and they'll spend an afternoon in the mountains and come back with, not a lot. It's a few grams worth of gold, but it might be $50, it might be $200 worth of gold, and at least they get something out of it, and they enjoy it, and it's fun. It's a family thing that the whole family could go out and mine. So yeah, we do get a fair amount of people that walk in with gold nuggets. That's what brought people to Colorado here, and every gold rush, whether it's a San Francisco gold rush, the 49ers, or the ones in Montana, or even Georgia, Dahlonega or Charlotte, or the ones up in Denver. They're all the gold rushes. That's what brings people in. Colorado nuggets are around 80 to 85% gold, but you have to use the XRF and really tell what sort of carat weight it is.
So the XRF machine, I just saw you using that over there. Is that an essential tool?
I would say it is. Anymore with today's world, they make that one itself is a enclosed unit. So to me, it's a much safer unit. I don't like the handheld ones because they're radiating. They're basically X-rays. I would never own a handheld unit. But anyway, yes, it is. Ultimately, yes, it is essential because we see so many things that are dental gold that comes out, teeth that might have palladium, platinum, gold, obviously in there, and sometimes they look like they're gold and they're not. They're just zinc and tin and nothing. They could be brass. Other times they're high palladium content or high gold content, so you really need to find those, to be fair on both sides. And then like gold nuggets, you have no idea where the nugget is from and how pure the gold nugget is.
Fun stuff. You mentioned numismatics are fun. Do you have any really cool, fun numismatics?
I like Colorado. We're in Colorado, so I do like Lesher dollars, which are they're the back of the red book, the octagonal silver coins from 1900, 1901. I do like Clark Gruber territorial gold coins with them out in 1860, 61. I do have the finest known 1861 20 in back that's worth about $250,000. But I do have a lot of other Clark Gruber, so those are my favorite ones. But I mean,
and I don't recognize any of them, Tom. I'm sorry, it doesn't ring a bell for me.
What we call Pioneer Gold. It's at the back of the red book. That's everything from the Moffats and the Humberts in California to the Georgia gold pieces. So yeah, there's multiple gold rushes with multiple different coinage. I mean, the Mormon gold, as an example, out of Utah. Even though they weren't mined there, but they're quite rare coins. So I like those kind of things. I always like the back of the red book and the front of it, and that's what I was a contributor for years and years of the red book. That I did that. I didn't do the Morgan dollars and Standing Liberty quarters and Lincoln cents. I did the colonials and some of the early stuff, and then I was also at the back with the tokens and medals and the territorial gold. Those I think are, to me, I don't say more interesting, but that's what my specialty, and I've always been leaning towards those areas of numismatics. Yankee, check these out. That is the Clark Gruber $20 gold piece. That's tied for the finest known, and it's definitely better than the other one out there. But these are Colorado pieces. I have a couple Lesher dollars here. So
nice.
They're octagonal. They're at the very back of the red book. And then here's another Clark Gruber $10 gold piece.
When you Clark, there it is.
There's Clark Gruber and Company. They were some of the early, I'm going to say pioneers, but they were one of the first people, and they did the first banking house. When the miners came down with gold nuggets, there was still no law here. We were still a territory. They needed to convert those nuggets into some sort of coin. So they produced coins like this for a couple years, and then they became the banking house. They became the First National Bank of Denver. And later on, they were bought by the Denver Mint, and that is the Denver Mint today. So the Clark Gruber and Company was the predecessor.
Yeah, this is quite an amazing place for mining. We were just up at we were up at Cripple Creek. We saw that huge mine.
Right. They were owned by Newmont. It's changed hands. It was Golden Cycle Corporation. Then it was Anglo Gold out of obviously South Africa. Then it became Newmont bought them, and then it was sold last year. But they're still a massive open pit. But they're a different sort of mining. You don't find nuggets. They're what we call placer gold. So they're going to grind it up and pulverize the rock.
Yeah.
Now they use a cyanide leaching facility, and they leach the gold molecules out of the ore into a pit, and then they extract the gold there, and then they do that until there's nothing left in the gold. So it's a very different operation. You're not going to find that gold nugget.
And then we did some off-roading on the Gold Path.
Gold Camp Road.
Gold Camp Road, yes.
And those are all former railroad tracks.
Yes.
And they pulled out all the railroad tracks, and now they're just roads that you can drive on. But
that was fun.
That was a huge gold camp up there.
Yeah.
But that was much later. That was 1892, 93. So that was probably 30 years after the original Colorado Gold Rush.
So this, thank you. So this Clark Gruber AU50. I mean, this is a really good specimen.
Yeah, this one is probably, I have it marked 13.5. Wow. So, but it's a good one. But that's probably out of the Clark Grubers. This is the most common of them.
Okay.
The 1861-10 is the most common. The rarest is the 1860-20 with a mountain on it. They're worth easily hundreds of thousands of dollars.
What's the rarest you have?
The rarest I have is this one, which is an 1861-20. And that's worth about $250,000.
Oh, I'm sorry.
$250,000?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
It's tied for the finest known, but it's clearly finer than the other one that's known. There are a couple in museums that are finer, but in private hands, this is basically the finest known.
Wow. AU58, 1861. That is gorgeous. Liberty Head. I do like stacking Liberty Head pre-33 gold coins. I don't go for rarity. I usually just try to get the gold content, but I think they're absolutely beautiful coins.
Well, the gold content is amazing because on those things, like the stackers, now it's a $20 gold piece from 1860s, 1870s, 1880s, the Type 1s and the Type 2s. If they're not really nice condition, they're pretty much only worth the gold or just a small fraction, a couple percent over the gold price, where they seem to be bargains right now. You can buy a certified MS63 $20 gold piece for less than 5% over the gold value.
What is this one right here?
That's another one of those lesser dollars. Now this is, of course,
That's amazing.
There's a high relief $20 gold piece. That's the St. Gaudens, the high relief. Those are fun ones.
They are.
And that's the fun thing of owning a coin shop. These things will walk in the door. In Colorado, we have a holding law. Everything I buy, let's say I buy a flatware set of silver, sterling silver.
Okay.
From a little old lady or whoever it is, somebody that inherited it. I have to hold it in a vault for 30 days to make sure that it's not stolen. After that 30 days, then I could send it to refineries. And I usually build a package of about 700 ounces because that's around 60 pounds. And then I'll ship that or either hand deliver or ship it to one of the 2 refineries I use. And then I'll get paid. They won't even melt it for probably 2 months to 3 months. And then I'll get paid after that. I could lock it in or I could pool the silver. And then I could say, send me a check. So, what is silver going to be in November?
The volatility has been insane.
It used to be in the old days. I still have my 30-day hold law because that's a state law.
Oh,
but then
wow.
I could ship it out, and it would get to the refinery, and I would probably get a check or get the settlement in 2 weeks, maybe week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. Now you're talking 2 to 3 months before you get the settlement. So you have to take that in when you're doing business and decide what sort of how much you want to buy it back to the silver price, and how much are you willing to risk on that. It's just been quite a journey. We've always been fairly conservative. We didn't want to take any crazy risks, so I never wanted to hedge anything. If I couldn't afford to buy it with a check that was good, I wouldn't buy it. But my dad always taught me to be honest with people, be trustworthy, and tell them the truth, what they have, and it's not always what they want to hear. But sometimes you have to, they saw on the internet something that said there's some rare double die variety of a penny and you look at it and it's just road damage. It's just been run over with a truck.
The other question I wanted to ask you is where you think silver and gold spot prices are headed. Do you believe we're still in the midst of a bull market with gold and silver? Do you feel this is just a pause? Do you think the fundamentals have changed that would impact the price of gold and silver?
Not really. I don't think the fundamentals have changed a lot. Just because, I mean, the government is still printing paper as fast as they can. The inflation is back. I mean, oil prices are hard. Commodity prices across the board. It's not just gold or silver. It's almost every commodity. But it's copper. It's zinc. It's tin. It's plutonium.
Right.
You name it. The commodities are all going up, and that even the food are going up. So I think fundamentally, I think it's still a strong market. I'm not going to predict it's going to double this next year, but I think it was a little bit of hype, and there was an internet bubble where it went up to well over 110, and there were some problems at that point. It was unsustainable. Too far, too fast.
Too far, too
and
fast.
I think at 60, it's a little under 65 today. That's much more in the reasonable realm, and people are comfortable at that level. You go back a couple years ago, and it was barely over 20. And they were comfortable at that level. Now they seem to be comfortable again at over 60. So I think that's a good base or a floor that's hitting it. What the ceiling is going to be, that's so hard to predict. There's so many geopolitical things between the multiple wars and just the inflation and some of these other things. I'm hesitant to make a prediction, but I'm still bullish on the metals.
So silver, what are people stacking here in Colorado Springs when it comes to silver?
People still want 1 ounce silver rounds and bars, and they like the unusual styles. They like the dinosaurs or some of the
fun stuff.
The fun stuff, exactly. Yeah. Some people want a tube of nothing but sunshine rounds, or they want a tube of nothing but buffaloes.
Right.
But I would say most people like a little variety in there. Some people like 10 ounce bars and 5 ounce bars, the smaller bars, not the kilos, or the 100 ounce bars. The 100 ounce bars are usually for big investors.
Yeah.
The guy did come in with some 100 ounce bars, and he wanted to convert it to 1 ounce rounds,
yeah.
which I always thought 1 ounce rounds were the better deal anyway, or not the better deal, but they're a better concept, because if you need $600, you bring in this brick of silver that's 100 ounces. It's what, $6,500.
Yeah.
You can't cut it in slices. So I like the idea of those.
You keep looking up over your left shoulder. I wanna show people what you're looking at. Wow, look at that. Spot price right up live. That's excellent. August 13th.
But we want to make sure people know what the price is. And when we're all computerized, and once we go in the computer, once we start the transaction, it locks it in at that moment.
Oh, nice.
So then if we add or subtract something, it doesn't change throughout, because then, we try to lock it in at that point. And most people do.
All right, I'm a little distracted by this.
Yeah, obviously the fractionals, the 1 ounce silver rounds over here. The silver bars or ingots, the foreign silver, or the world silver. It's not foreign, I guess, is the way. More silver rounds, impaired silver, foreign silver. As a collector, not of a stacker, very different things.
Right, very different.
Collector, I like the historical. What is the history behind that artifact?
Right.
So I like the story behind whether it's that Lesher dollar or a Clark Gruber gold coin or a colonial U.S. copper. I like the story behind it is almost more interesting than the coin or the item itself. Whereas stackers are different. I silver stack and I gold stack too, and I like those because they are a commodity. So if it's a commodity, if gold doubled, or if silver doubled, and hey, I'm in the middle of buying a car, I need to raise $10,000. I could take it out, sell it, and then I could know that I could buy the item, and I could replace it. If the price goes down to where I like it, I could buy more of it. And it's really not, most of it is not, it's not one of those things that, like a Colorado bank note.
Right.
I looked for one note for 10 years. I finally found one when I bought it. Even if it doubled the price, I'm not going to sell it because it's a core to my collection. So it's something like that. Whereas I think stacking is a little different because stacking is more of what I would call an investment. So
I'd actually like to call it insurance.
Yes.
Wealth insurance to protect our buying power, purchasing power against the ravages of inflation and out of control central banks and governments, right?
I like having tangible stuff as long as it's in a safe, secure location. That's why even in Coin Shop here, we do have rolling gates at night, so it's a secure location there. And then everything is still locked in vaults too. So
Good.
If they get through the gate, then they got motion sensors, they've got got sensors in the floor, and then they have the TL30 safe to break in after that. So the more, all you're doing is you're putting barriers in front of them.
Layers.
And more of those, like when we did get robbed back in 2019, and that was a scary situation. It really changed the way we looked at things. So security is always paramount with every coin shop, and that's why it always scares me when I hear about people that are individuals without anybody else in a coin shop, because
I hear you. I know. I think every place is a little bit different, but overall you need to be very careful.
Absolutely.
Walking around with your gold, what you're doing when you come to a coin shop like yours.
Well, and the same thing is not only coin shops, but coin shows.
Coin shows.
There's always thefts at coin shows. There's people turn around and their briefcase is missing, or a double roll box of coins is missing, and people are, if it's a professional thief, they're very good and they're very knowledgeable.
So you come here?
Oh yeah, I drive down from Denver.
Wow, what do you think of this place?
Oh, it's amazing. Honestly, it's the best coin shop I've found in the state.
Really?
The fairest prices.
Do you buy or sell here?
Both.
Both?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, they have great staff, everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Happen to be here in Colorado Springs, swing on by our coin shop. You might have to wait a little bit in here, but we do have rotator cases with the numismatics in there.
Yeah.
We have a couple cases of better coins, case of gold, case of silver.
Well, Tom, again, thank you so much for
It's been a
taking
pleasure.
the time.
Thanks for taking the time to drive all the way, fly from New Hampshire all the way here.
Well, yeah, Mrs. Yankee had something to do with that. So make sure you check out the Hallenbeck Coin Gallery if you're here in Colorado Springs. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.